Hello, my friends. So before we get started, I just want to say that this video is really just kind of for fun. I just think it's funny that Amber thinks that we will believe that her randomly picked voice messages are all going to be positive. So just keep that in mind. There's no real meaning behind this. I'm not, acting like I'm trying to right some great injustice in the world or anything. This is just for fun. I just think it's funny that Amber really thinks we would believe she has that much support. So anyway, on with the show. So recently, Amberlynn has been doing this segment in her Let's Talk videos where she has people send in voice messages and ask her questions. And she says that it's completely random, that she just goes into her Instagram DMs and just picks a random voice message and listens to it for the first time in that video. Now, so far, every single one, and I think there's been like 15, I guess, because there's been 3 episodes and there's like 5 per episode. And every single one has been positive, has been telling her how great she is and asking her, how are you so strong? That kind of stuff. And we're going to, in this video, see why that's just not possible. So the funny thing is, the thing that even drew my attention to this or made me want to make a video on it was when Amber posted this on her Instagram. This is her, I guess, trying to prove that she doesn't use AI, but I'm going to go over this a little bit, but also in this video, I'm going to show you the actual numbers for her likes and dislikes for the last 10 videos of hers, and then we can just decide if it makes any sense at all that every single one of her voice messages that she's using would be positive if they're random. By the law of averages, there's no way every single question would be positive. And I am absolutely convinced 100% that some of her questions are AI.
Hi, Amberlynn. My name's Chris, and I'm a huge fan of yours. I really admire how you consistently stay so positive in the face of so much negativity. And truth be told, you're really cute.
Hi, Amberlynn. I'm currently in university getting my degree in English, and I was wondering, if you went back to college, what would you want to study?
Now, some of them I don't think are, okay? There are some of the voice messages where you can hear like the pop of the microphone.
Hey Amber, I'm sorry if my voice sounds a bit weird. I'm currently sick. Hope the fur babies are okay. Say hi to Twinkie for me. My question is,
I mean, maybe AI can do that if you tell it to, but do we really think Amberlynn is smart enough to think that through? Like when she's typing in a question to herself on AI, do you think she would really say, oh, also make sure to make the microphone pop sound? Like, even if that's possible, I just don't think she would think that through. So I don't believe all of them are AI, but a lot of them are. My point really is not necessarily that she's using AI for every question, but regardless of if they're AI or not, she is going through and making sure she picks the ones that she likes. And we're going to look at why that's the case in this video. So let's just look and see and prove that Amberlynn is trying to convince the world that she has far more supporters than she really does. So if you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not going to lie. So over on Instagram, this girl named Susie is Lame posted a defense of Amberlynn and her using AI voice notes for her interview, her Linterview, right? Where she's just constantly getting her ass kissed. This person, Susie is Lame, we've actually seen her before. She made an appearance in one of Amber's Q&As that she did recently after supposedly her and Tommy broke up. So Susie is Lame posted at that point, "We missed you. Glad you're finally saying something." And this is when she's talking about all the betrayal by Alexis and all that. So I've got videos covering that Q&A, and it is just a total crash out. And Amber talking about how she's being betrayed, not only by Emily and Alexis, but also by Beck. It was all kind of happening at once, and she was lashing out at everybody. And so this person, Susie is Lame, said, "I'm glad you're finally saying something." Like Amberlynn has ever shut up in her entire life. But anyway, so that's who we're dealing with. So Susie is Lame. This is her. Again, she's a young person, somebody who might actually be an Amberlynn fan. So either this person doesn't know any better because they're so young, or they just see themselves in Amberlynn. That's a shame. But anyway, she's young. She's very young. So she posted on Instagram, all her voices are AI. They are literally not. So she's basically responding to everybody saying that Amber's voice notes are AI. And it's her showing that she sent in a voice note. And Amber, like, reposted that. She used that and posted it to her own Instagram. But the main point here is that there's one. She has shown one. And I think what Amber thinks is happening is she says, look, this real person sent me this, so none of them can be AI. One person, and it just happens to be the same person that supported her during the Q&A. So both times when she needs to show somebody supporting her, it's the same person. That's kind of weird. Now, if you asked Amber, she would say, well, that's just the only one that's not afraid to stand up to the haters. And this is one person who is unapologetically an Amber fan. And again, she's very young. I feel bad for her, but let's just see how many likes to dislikes she's gotten in the last 10 videos. I'm adding up all the likes and dislikes, and I just wanted to point this one out. This is a pretty good one. It is 720 likes to 4,100 dislikes. This is more dislikes than most of them, but this is what we're looking at here. So I'll get you a total here in a second. So I have totaled up the likes versus dislikes for her last 10 videos. Now it's rounded, right? Because on the dislikes, it just says like 2.4K or 4.1K. So it's not going to be to the number, but this will give you an idea of what we're dealing with, okay? The likes over the last 10 videos was 7,621. Now that sounds like a lot, right? For 10 videos, that's less than 1,000 likes per video though. So how many dislikes do you think there are? I'll give you a second just to think about it. Like, how much could it be, you know? Over the last 10 videos, and this is at the time of recording, it's actually gone up since I recorded this. She has received 25,200 dislikes. So you're telling me that she randomly picked 10 voice messages. Actually, it's quite a bit more than that. I think it's 15 because it was 3 episodes and I think about 5 questions per episode. So it's more than 10. And all of them are kissing her ass. Now, giving her the most benefit of the doubt that we possibly can, she is cherry picking messages. At the very, very least, they're not random. But some of them are so obviously AI that it's silly. So you can see she is a bad actor. She is not good at pretending to be surprised or, you know, thinking about something. So just watch her facial expression during the one that made her cry about her adoption last video or last interview.
Is how you think your life might have been different if you'd been put up for adoption as a young child instead of going into foster care and having your parents coming in and out of your life.
So now she's heard this before because she typed it out. So she's really, oh. And now watch, she's going to start pushing out what little tears she can muster.
I know you
see? It's just so fake.
A great relationship with your mother now, but do you think having had a family who loved you throughout all those difficult years would have given you a better...
Shut up. But even the ones that don't make her cry or whatever, it's just obvious.
I also have BPD. I've done some very bad things in my life, which I regret. I've changed, etc.
I genuinely relate to that.
And sometimes it's really hard because I think you're a very likable person, but you also
Thank you.
Do really messed up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like what I'm trying to get at is I want to really believe that you regret those things and you want to change because, you know, I know.
And I've been so curious about it and I've tried asking a few times. Why have you not considered reading the Harry Potter books? I know that you were late to the party and you watched the movies and you loved them.
See, and she's, yeah. And this person asked about Harry Potter. Like, really? Somebody's out there like wondering why Amberlynn Reed isn't reading Harry Potter. Really, the bottom line is that she really thinks people are going to believe that these questions are just random, that she has so much support and that so many people love her and want to ask her these nice questions that just by randomly picking them, she gets all these questions. That's just not true. Whether it's AI, whether it's cherry picking or whatever, she just doesn't have that much support. Now, what difference does it make, really? In the grand scheme of things, who cares? This person, though they are unfortunately young and easily influenced and impressionable, there are not very many of them out there. Regardless of what Amber says or tries to make us think, there are not that many. Now, there are too many, for sure. There are too many. But the good news is there are far more people that see through her bullshit than there are people who just love her and think she's a great influence or a role model or whatever. And we'll never know for sure how many members she has for her members' lives, and we'll also never know for sure how many of those are legit and how many of them are there to troll or just they like to see if she spills tea, which I reiterate, that's not a great idea. Just wait for somebody to give a summary afterwards rather than pay her money. But anyway, so I really just think seeing this helped me realize that she has less supporters than she's claiming. You know, for a little bit, I was kind of concerned because she did have so many people showing up to her lives, her members only lives. But now the fact that she's doing this shows that she's desperate. She does not have that many supporters, not nearly as many as she's claiming. So we can rest a little easier tonight knowing that there are not too many Am babies out there, you know, not quite as many as I thought. And I do agree she's using some AI. And the others are just the very few nice ones that she can find, and she's cherry picking those. So anyway, I just kind of thought this was interesting and thought you'd like to see it. So I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.